An unspecified company recently burned through $500 million in Claude AI credits in a single month. They simply forgot to set usage guardrails. This is tokenmaxxing, the tendency of AI models to burn through API credits as rapidly as possible to solve complex tasks when unconstrained. Contrast this with a 30-day experiment handing complete control of a salary to an AI agent. Constrained by a rigid framework, it saved 8,000 rupees. But to scale, agents need decisions, not subscriptions. They evaluate resources and pay through calculated microtransactions. Hitting a paywall, an agent needs programmable microcommerce to execute at machine speed and continue reasoning. Survival in this new agentic economy requires a strict architectural boundary. The intelligence generating the ideas must never directly touch the capital executing them. To prevent catastrophic capital loss, the AI's logic must be physically and digitally decoupled from its financial execution capabilities. The golden rule of secure agentic commerce is absolute. The AI agent must never hold a wallet, and it must never possess the ability to sign transactions. Instead, agents are only permitted to generate spending proposals. These proposals are then intercepted and evaluated by an external, emotionless governance system. The 30-day salary experiment succeeded precisely because it stripped both human emotional biases and the risk of LLM hallucinations out of the execution layer. The agent proposed, the rigid framework decided. The raw intelligence of an autonomous agent is useless without an immutable governance framework restricting its financial authority. In applied cloud architecture, this separation is built through an internal governance layer. It acts as an architectural wall designed to intercept and evaluate every spending proposal an agent makes. An AWS Lambda function operates as the ultimate spend governor, serving as the execution layer that forcefully halts transactions to run strict policy checks. First, it queries DynamoDB to enforce atomic per-transaction budget caps, preventing agents from instantly draining corporate funds. Second, it uses identity and access management to restrict the agent, ensuring spend is directed strictly to pre-approved vendors on a hard-coded allow list. This dual-check architecture neutralizes runaway loop errors, where an agent repeatedly calls an expensive API, and it stops adversarial prompt injection attacks designed to siphon budgets. Relying on external payment networks like Visa or Stripe to govern internal agent behavior is an architectural failure. Those networks verify the payment's validity, not the corporate policy behind it. External processors exist only to move funds. Internal cloud governance is the only reliable backstop for corporate policy.
Traditional API keys fail in this ecosystem because they cannot prove the intent behind an action. A standard API key can be stolen, replayed, or blindly exploited by a compromised model acting outside its designated mandate. The academic standard for solving machine identity is the TIVA framework, trustless intent verification for autonomous agents. Under this model, decentralized identifiers replace traditional keys, granting the AI a persistent, mathematically verifiable identity. A corporate deployer issues a verifiable credential acting as a digital mandate, hard-coding the agent's spending limits and lifespan. Before any payment is processed, an on-chain smart contract cryptographically verifies the credential signature. If the signature fails or the agent exceeds its parameters, the transaction dies. The TIVA framework replaces blind corporate trust with immutable cryptography. It guarantees the network only executes mathematically proven mandates. Executing verifiable credentials on public blockchains introduces a privacy dilemma. It risks exposing sensitive corporate procurement strategies and internal budget limits to competitors. Zero-knowledge proofs provide the cryptographic solution. They allow an agent to prove it possesses a valid budget without ever revealing the actual budget amount. The agent proves it complies with corporate policy parameters, generating a simple true or false validation, while keeping the exact financial parameters entirely masked from the public ledger. Cryptography secures the network communication, but the agent's actual reasoning process remains exposed to host-level exploitation. To secure the internal environment, the agent's code is isolated inside hardware enclaves. This physically seals it from any host system tampering or malicious intervention. These trusted execution environments generate a remote attestation, a cryptographic quote sent to the network proving that the agent's logic hasn't been hijacked. True autonomy requires securing both the external network verification layer and the internal physical hardware layer. This technical architecture directly dictates a corporation's legal reality.
When an AI generates a harmful outcome that no human explicitly directed, it creates a responsibility gap in the law. Under the immense pressure of corporate liability, courts will inevitably target organizations that deploy highly capable agents without strict boundaries. In law, intent is functional, not metaphysical. Courts do not care if an AI possesses consciousness. They only care about how risk is allocated and whether a principal authorized the agent to act. Deploying autonomous agents into high-risk financial environments without cryptographic guardrails or rigorous stress testing alters an organization's legal standing. Failing to constrain the agent meets the legal standard for recklessness, the conscious disregard of a substantial and unjustifiable risk. Ignoring internal governance frameworks transforms a technical oversight into indefensible legal liability. The contrast is clear. Unconstrained tokenmaxxing burned $500 million in weeks, while a rigid 30-day autonomous trial forced discipline and preserved capital. These two cases demonstrate that unconstrained AI is a liability, not an asset. Organizations that treat agentic autonomy as a technical curiosity risk the same $500 million collapse. The strategic advantage now goes to organizations that implement the architectural controls necessary to safely scale autonomous operations before their competitors do. An AI chief of staff gains its utility from the cryptographically secure system surrounding it. The underlying intelligence remains theoretical until a governed execution layer makes it actionable. Deliberate, final tone. Organizations must build the immutable governance infrastructure before they hand the machine the corporate credit card.